What's up, team? What an awesome weekend that we had. I just had gotten back in from Greece on Friday night, showed up, preached, full house, baptisms, life change stories. I got to be in the tub. A guy in my group got baptized. It was awesome. And we have Mother's Day weekend coming up this weekend, which is exciting too. It's one of the last. If you kind of study church attendance rhythms, it's Mother's Day is one of the higher attended weekends of the year, and then it kind of falls into a summer slump until August again. And who knows what'll happen? That doesn't happen everywhere. It doesn't happen all the time, but that's typically the trend that we start to experience. Is Mother's Day is a boost, and then things start to simmer down a little bit as people begin to travel for the summer, or go to a lake house for the weekend. All of that stuff. So that's what we have to kind of look forward to. Great opportunity to serve guests. Typically, there are some more guests this weekend. And I'm excited to continue the Your Journey series. Tonight, I actually drive to Lima to see how much interest there is in people starting a Lima location. I'm sure we'll have more information as things progress. But I wanted to take a moment to help you think critically a little bit about this window of time that we have before the fall. And if you are like me, you're looking forward to summer. Hopefully you've scheduled a summer vacation. But if you're not careful, we'll get summered by summer. Okay? And what do I mean by that? Well, we tend to focus, at least for me, we tend to focus on what's important and urgent every week. And so whatever is on fire right now, the weekend is coming, that tends to get the majority of our focus and brain power. This fall, we are going to be adding services. And so if we're not careful, we will delay the preparation, the work that we need to do until it starts to feel really important because it's right in front of us and we got to do it now. When if you could reverse engineer a little bit of this, you could do some incremental work through the summer so that you're not feeling all of the pressure 2 weeks before. I want to talk through what that looks like. If leadership, ultimately, that's part of what leadership is moving people from here to there. Okay. So if as leaders, as we begin to look, and if it's not adding service times, maybe it's a change that you want to see in your ministry or, whatever. It doesn't have to be just service times. But as we look to the fall and what we hope to accomplish next year, you need to get a clear vision of there. For example, how many dream team members? How many groups? Like, where do you want to be at this fall? Pick a date. Maybe it's when we go to the new service times. That's the date. And I want you to get as specific as possible about what you hope to see there. That's the there. Then you come back and you get an honest view of here. As Jim Collins says, you confront the brutal facts. And it's not just Jim Collins. This is true throughout the Proverbs. This is a principle throughout Scripture. Is get a clear vision of there and then get an honest view of here. And then when you see the gap and the time, you basically begin to reverse engineer that in a week-by-week basis. I'll give you an example. When I was a campus pastor at South Toledo, let's say hypothetically, we wanted to be at 50 leaders for whatever team, the hospitality team, in the fall, and we are currently at 30. And so what's that gap? If you're doing the math, that's 20 people. And what I would do is I would round up to 25 because there probably are going to be a couple of people that for whatever reason, life circumstances, bow out. And I would rather have a stronger number in the fall than a perpetual gap that we keep trying to fill. So we need to recruit 25 leaders if we are going to go from 30 to 50 in the fall. And then, you just kind of do the calendar. It's 17 weeks between now and the fall. That's basically two commitments per weekend. You need 2 additional people per weekend in order to hit that goal. Now, that's not too bad, 2. That may seem like a lot. Maybe if you're doing the math, you're like 2 times 17 is actually 34, Ben. That's 9 more than you actually need. I understand, but keep in mind, 2 of those weekends that I'm counting are Sunday services only. So I'm lowering the number to 1 commitment. And then I'm on vacation for a couple of weekends, so I lose those 4. And so basically, you're just trying to give yourself a benchmark of what you need to shoot for, what you need to see every weekend if you're going to hit that target. If you're going to go from 30 to 50, you need 2 commitments every weekend that you're at church. Which begs a question. How many asks do you have to make? How many people do you need to talk to? How many relationships do you need to have established to get to 2 commitments per weekend? Now, it starts to take this big goal and break it into what you would call lead indicators. So I knew I needed to have about 5 to 8, hey, I would love to have you on our team conversations every weekend. And so I would just keep track of that. Because if I had 5 to 8 conversations about, hey, have you ever thought about joining our team? And then I would probably see an increase of interest and connection. Or you could look at your team and go, hey, team, we need to see 2 per weekend. I need each of you to think about, pay attention to, be looking for 3 invitations or recruitment conversations, or like, hey, I see a new potential every weekend. And then we would just hold each other accountable to that. And then we would celebrate progress with that. And I think that's a way that you can take a big goal and break it down into multiple weeks. It's not going to feel urgent every week. Why? Because it feels like it's so far away, but that's how you don't get summered by summer. And where you end up in the fall in a panic because you didn't break down kind of the strategy into bite-sized chunks. And so I would love for you to take a little bit of time to get a picture of there, to get an honest look at here, and begin to outline the gap and the potential weekly opportunities that you need to engage in to help set yourself up for success in the fall. Thanks. Oh, and one more thing. We'll see how many of you remember this. Elevate Church is going to be joining us for staff meeting on Tuesday. And so I can't wait for Will Law, the lead pastor there, and his team to be hanging out with us for the day. So if you see him, say hello, introduce yourself, make them feel welcome. Cedar Creek was used over 10 years ago to help launch that church, and they are experiencing some record attendance right now, incredible life change, and Cedar Creek is a part of that. And so can't wait to see them in our house on Tuesday.